In this video, I want to take a look at a game which I played when I just started playing the King's Gambit, and I wasn't very familiar with all the nuances of the variations. And well, I got a terrible position right out of the opening. So the game started with e takes f4, so the King's Gambit accepted, knight f3, bishop e7, which I later found out because of this game that the whole idea is to check on h4, which is annoying. I played d4. There are other moves. I guess for amateur players, the most common move is h4, maybe also the most practical. Other moves have been tried: knight c3, bishop e2, and well, my move d4. But probably the best move is bishop c4, and this was played by Garry Kasparov in 1993 against Nigel Short. That game continued bishop h4 check, king f1, and d5. So the whole idea of moving the bishop is that now you have king f1 as opposed to what I played, which was d4, and now king e2 is the best move. Not knowing that, I took the bishop, which is not a very good move, and now black is much better after queen takes with check. And well, just to back up for a second, there's an old line, I don't know if it's in this exact position, but where you sacrifice like 3 pawns by playing g3, and then they take, and you play bishop g2, and then it's a check, and you go king f1. So I mean, the King's Gambit is not an opening which you wanna just memorize moves, because if you don't really understand the position, then you might just lose like Hikaru Nakamura did. This was a while back, but I think he lost the game in less than 10 moves, because the move that he played was from a different line that he mixed up in his head, and the move that he played actually lost the game, whereas in the other line, which was a very similar line, it was the best move. So I mean, if it can happen to someone who's top 10 in the world, then it can happen to anyone. So I took, and well, now I have to move the king. I thought king d2 would be better, because then maybe I can either play c3 or b3 and just try to get my king to the queen side. And now my opponent played knight f6, so I just defend the pawn, knight d6. And here I played a move which I don't like now that I'm analyzing this game, which is d5. Really, I should be trying to develop my pieces. I mean, the pawn is being attacked. King d3 looks ugly, but well, my position is just bad. What can I say? Look, So my opponent went 95, which is not the best move. And here I just blundered, but well, my position is very difficult to play anyway. Even after the best move, Queen e1, black is still better as long as black doesn't trade the queens. Once the queens are traded, then the white king is pretty safe. But after b3, well, the evaluation just goes down. It's -7. I mean, this is just lost. And well, after d6, not the most accurate move. Now the evaluation is not so bad. I mean, it's bad, but it's not terrible. So bishop e2, queen f2 check. And obviously my opponent does not want to trade queens. And well, here, even though I know my position is worse, I feel like if I didn't get checkmated in the last 5 moves, then I have a decent chance of staying alive for at least another 5 to 10 moves. And here my opponent played bishop g4, attacking the queen. The engine likes queen d2, again offering the trade of queens. I went for queen b5 check, which is not the best move, but it is sort of trying to create counter chances. After c6, I wish I could take the pawn, but unfortunately the knight is guarding the pawn, so after trading and trading, there is no fork where I win the rook on the corner, so I have to settle for queen takes b7, which is not something I want to be doing. My queen is really not defending my king, and I have 4 black pieces trying to checkmate my king, so not very happy about this, but there is really no other choice after queen b5 check. So my opponent castles, and well, you can see that black has all his pieces developed and my rooks are still on the original squares, and there's a bishop and a king that are blocking the rook's connection to one another, so it's understandable that my position is just pretty sad to look at. So after h3, finally my opponent played this move, which I think he should have played when he had like a -7 advantage. And here he traded knights, which was not a very good idea because, well, tactically it just doesn't work. And I find this very strange. I don't know if this is how people are cheating. Not that I'm accusing this particular individual of cheating, but I just sometimes find that people get like a really good position out of the opening, and then they just start playing like really badly, and it's not like just one blunder, it's just like move after move after move. It's almost like it's a different person playing. Or if you flip that around, you get like someone playing a garbage opening, and then they're just playing like a genius, and it's just like good move after good move after good move. So after we trade, well, then I just win a bishop, so I'm up a piece. And well, this queen check is not so great anymore because I can just block it, and there is no knight here on c3 where he could have won the knight back a few moves. And here again, just taking the pawn, which doesn't make a lot of sense because now I get to centralize my queen, and then again going for the material. I suppose it's understandable because you're down a piece, but really activating the rooks while this rook is not doing anything, and this rook wasn't doing much either. Just I think it would be like black having being up in exchange because this rook is not doing anything. So I think going for counterplay instead of material would be a better choice for black. It's what I would do anyway. But now I'm attacking the knight and the threat of checkmate. So knight f6, the only move. Queen h4. Attacking the queen. The queen drops back. And it's funny because, well, ironically, at the beginning of the game, black didn't want to trade queens because he had an attack going. Now black doesn't want to trade queens because he's down a piece. So bishop b2 with the obvious threat of checkmating two moves. Bishop takes f6, followed by queen takes h7, checkmate. So h6, the only move, and after takes, well, queen takes, and now you have tripled pawns that are isolated. This pawn is isolated and weak. This pawn is isolated and weak. And I want to take this guy. And I'm up a bishop, so this is pretty much over. We played a few more moves, and here again it just doesn't make any sense. You should retreat with the rook. And well, my opponent played on for another 22 moves, I believe. But I mean, this is not even worth looking at. There is no counterplay for black. The only weak pawn for white is this pawn, but the bishop can go to f3, and well, I suppose you can push this guy and trade one of the weak pawns, but you still have these three isolated pawns. You're down a bishop with as black. I mean, there's really nothing to hope for. So yeah, I think I got lucky in this game because I just misplayed the opening. And well, I think it's a better way to learn openings than just to memorize them, because when you make a mistake and you get yourself into a situation where you're pretty much lost, it does tend to stick in your head for a lot longer than just memorizing lines, which is also not much fun. So I hope that you liked the video. If you did, hit the like button and share and subscribe. And thank you for watching.